The economy. You hear that phrase all the time, right? On the news, from politicians, maybe even at the dinner table. And it sounds huge, super complicated, almost impossible to get your head around. But what if I told you it all boils down to a pretty simple, continuous loop that you, yes you, are a part of every single day? Let's trace that loop together.
Just think about your morning for a second. That coffee you drank, the phone that's probably in your hand right now, the clothes you're wearing, none of it just magically appeared. It all got to you through this vast, interconnected system of people and processes. And that system, in a nutshell, is the economy.
You know, at its very heart, the definition is actually beautifully simple. An economy is just the way we've all organized ourselves to get the stuff we need to live. It's our framework for survival and, if we're lucky, for thriving.
So why do we even need this system in the first place? Well, it comes down to one fundamental truth: specialization. I mean, I'm not a farmer and a tailor and a home builder all at once, and I'm betting you aren't either. We each kind of do our one thing, and then we rely on everyone else for the rest. That basic need to cooperate and exchange, that is the engine that drives every single economy.
Okay, so to understand this giant system, let's start by taking a look at its engine room: production. We can basically break down everything that's made or done into three distinct areas, or sectors, and each one builds on the last.
Everything begins with the primary sector. This is where we get our hands dirty, literally. We're pulling resources directly from the earth. Think of farmers growing wheat, loggers cutting down trees, or miners digging up iron ore. This is the absolute foundation, the raw ingredients for our entire economy.
Next, we take those raw materials and move them to the secondary sector. This is the world of manufacturing and construction. It's where we transform all that raw stuff. That iron ore gets forged into the steel for a car. That cotton from the field gets woven into the shirt you're wearing right now. This is where raw potential becomes an actual finished product.
And finally, there's the tertiary sector, which you might know as the service economy. Now, this sector doesn't make a thing you can hold, it does things. It's the truck driver who gets the car from the factory to the dealership. It's the banker who provides the loan to build the factory in the first place. It's the doctor who keeps the farmer healthy so they can grow the food. These services are the essential grease that keeps the whole machine running smoothly.
So you see, the key thing to remember is that these sectors work together in a logical flow. We extract raw materials, we manufacture them into goods, and we use services to support that whole process and ultimately get those goods into your hands. It's a production pipeline.
All right, we've mapped out the engine room of production. But an engine doesn't just run itself, right? So who are the main characters in this economic story? Well, in our simple model, it really all comes down to two major players, and it's their relationship that makes everything go round. Okay, so here are our two main players. On the left, we've got households. That's you, me, all of us. Our goal is pretty straightforward. We want to maximize our satisfaction, be as happy and comfortable as we can be. Then on the right, you have firms. Their goal is also super simple: make a profit. Now notice how their needs are perfectly matched. Households have the labor and capital that firms need, and firms make the goods and services that households want. This tension, this mutual need, is the spark that ignites the whole system. So we've got the sectors and we've got the players. Now get ready for the big aha moment. Let's see how these two groups, households and firms, are locked in this continuous, flowing dance with each other.
I mean, they can't just exist in their own little bubbles. They need each other to get what they want. So how does this exchange actually happen? What's the bridge that connects your desire for a new phone with the company that makes it?
And this is the answer. It's a concept called the circular flow, and it's the really big idea that our income and our spending are in this constant, looping relationship between the two players we just met, households and firms. Now, I know this diagram looks a little bit academic, so let's look at a simpler version to see exactly how this beautiful loop works.
Okay, this makes it much clearer. Let's trace the two loops. First, let's follow what we call the real flow. Households provide labor, their work, to firms. In return, firms produce goods and services which flow back to the households. Simple enough, right? Now let's follow the money flow. Firms pay wages to households for their work. And what do households do? They use that very same money to buy the goods and services from the firms. See that? It's a perfect self-sustaining loop. Money flows in one direction, while actual stuff, goods and labor, flows in the other.
Now, that simple loop, that's the absolute core of the economy. But as we all know, the real world is a little messier, a little more complicated. It's not a totally closed system. So let's expand our model just a bit by adding two final players to get the full realistic picture.
First, we add the government. You can think of it as a third player that interacts with both sides. It collects taxes from households and firms, which pulls money out of the flow. But it also injects money back in by buying things from firms and providing public services like roads and schools. Then we add the rest of the world, what we call the foreign sector. When we buy stuff from other countries, imports, money flows out of our circle. But when we sell our stuff to them, exports, money flows back in. These two additions make our simple loop much more dynamic and connected to the wider world.
So there you have it, from a simple definition of getting a living to this dynamic, flowing system. And the coolest part is, this isn't just some diagram in a textbook. You are living inside this circle right now. The job you went to today, that's the flow of labor. That lunch you bought, that's the flow of money. The economy isn't something that just happens out there. It's the sum of every single choice we all make. So, let me ask you, what moves did you make in the circle today?